Hi guys, welcome to another Divi theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. We've got a great one for you today. We're going to show you how to make a custom global header. We set this up originally with a default Divi header here, and it's okay, it's functional, it's great, it's got our logo and a menu, and we've got a secondary menu up here with a few things on it. I'm going to create a global header. I'm going to keep it pretty simple, but our little header is now going to have logo, menu, a little contact button, some social media icons, and you can create your own secondary menu also if you want to. Really easy to do and a great way of expanding the functionality of your header. So let's get started. I'm going to go down to the dashboard. I'm going to go down to Divi and to Theme Builder. Click on Theme Builder. That's going to take you to this page. Here's a global footer that we created in a previous video. Here's the global header that I created. I'll go ahead and delete that. Just roll it over the trash can. Okay, fantastic. Well, let's add a global header. Now, a global header means it's going to appear on every single page, and you can do custom headers that will appear on individual pages, and we'll cover that in another video. I'm going to click on Add Global Header, and I'm going to build global header. There's a lot of libraries out there on the Divi marketplace with some fantastic headers, but we're going to build ours from scratch today. So I'm going to hit Build Global Header. And by default, it puts in a section, blue tab. Now what you want to do is decide how many elements you want on your header, and it's entirely up to you. I'm going to keep this fairly simple today for time, but you can add absolutely anything you want. So let's add a row. I'm actually going to use 4 columns in my row today. Like I say, depending on what you want to build, use as many or as few as you want. Now in my first column here, I'm going to put my logo just using an image module. So if we roll down, here's an image module. And there is a menu module, and I'll show you that in a moment, where you can add a logo and a menu, but I like to add my logo separately, just easier to manipulate on tablet and mobile for me. So let's find my little logo here. There it is, just click on it, upload your image. I'm going to make mine the size I want it. I'm actually going to give it a fixed width so it's the same size on all devices. We can do that over in design and sizing. Here's width right here. I'm going to make mine say 200 pixels, 200 and px. I take that away. When you put in your 200, in this particular case, make sure you put px on the end, because by default it's going to put in a percentage. So just select that if it does that, put px for pixels. And that'll be that size on all devices. Fantastic. Well, next up, we're going to have our sort of little menu. So let's go down, we'll find a little menu module. And here it is. And here's what I was saying before. The menu module allows you to put a logo in here also, but I like to put mine in individually for more control. So choose the menu that you want here. Now you may notice it's squished it up in there. We're going to extend this row in a minute and we'll fix all these issues. I'm just going to get the things that I want in there at the moment, and we'll come back and style it in a second. Okay, next up, I'm going to add a button that's going to take us down to our contact form or wherever it is you want to take your folks. So I'm simply going to add a button module. There's my default button setup that we set up initially in the customizer, but you can style any button any way you want over in design. I'll show you that in a moment. Great, I'm going to leave that there too. And on this side, I think I'll have a few social media icons. So I'm going to hit that. I'm going to have a social media follow. There we go, right there. Great. Now let's just add a couple more. Let's perhaps put in LinkedIn. Save the changes, and we'll add one more. Let's perhaps put in Instagram. That'll work for me. And obviously any of these, when you add one, put in the link to your page for that appropriate social media right there in the link down below. Great. Well, I'm going to leave that just like that. Going to save the main settings. Okay, well, we've got the basic layout of our sort of primary menu. I'm going to call it my primary menu here. And let's go into the row now. If we click on here, green tab for a row, blue for a section, dark tab for a module. We'll go into this row. I'm going to extend it till it's full width. Click on the little cog. We're going to go over to design and sizing. If we look down here, we've got width. I'm going to slide that all the way up to 100%. I'm going to copy it, Control C, and paste it down below in max width, or you can just type in a 100% there if you prefer. As you can see, that's stretched all of these out full screen here. Great. That's pretty much what I want, but I want a bit of space, certainly on desktop either side. So still in the row settings, I'm going to close up sizing. I'm going to go down to spacing below, and padding left and right. I'm going to use a percentage so that it'll be whatever size screen, it'll give it that percent of that screen gap either side. And for me, I think I use 15%. Just put in 15. Here it's put in pixels. I want to change that to percentage. So select the PX and just put in your percentage sign. And now my logo's about here. That looks about right for me, but of course I want similar on this side. Just hit the chain. It'll do the right hand side for you. Fantastic. Okay, well this is way too deep. If I go into the section now, you'll see exactly how deep it is. Blue tab for the section. If I just put a border on the bottom of this, just so that you can see, I've gone to design and down to border. You've got all, top, right, bottom, the one I want, or you can put one on the left if you want to. I'm going to give it 1 pixel. So you can see our section is actually this deep, which for my primary menu is going to be way too much. So I'm going to go still in design. I'm going to close up border. Just above it you'll find spacing. I'm going to take any padding away from top and bottom. That's right here. To do that, simply put a 0 in and hit the chain. Now that's looking a bit more like it. Still a little wide, but any more padding that we need to take off there will be in the actual row rather than the section. Great. Well, it's shaping up here nicely. Okay, my logo size, I'm fairly happy with that. My menu, I don't like the way it's collapsing there. It's sort of dropping into 2 lines. I really don't want that. So what we can do, there's gaps between each of these columns in this row, and they're called gutters. So if we go into the row and go to where we made it full width just now, which was in the sizing, we can create a custom gutter width. To take away those gaps in the row, I can take the gutter width down. And 2's worked. I mean, it's actually straightened that out there. But I'm going to take it all the way down so there's no gap at all in between these columns. Great. Well, as I mentioned earlier, this is still too wide for me. So while we're in the row, let's close up sizing, go to spacing just down below. And we can do a similar thing that we did with our section, which is to reduce the padding top and bottom, which is the space top and bottom internally. I think I used 3 pixels before. Let's try 5. Just put in the 5, it puts in the pix. And you can see it's scooted it up there. Let's try that on the bottom. Yeah, that may be a little short. Let's try 10. That's okay. Obviously make it how you want yours to look. Great, now we got the basics there. Let's go in and style this thing. So we'll save this. I'm happy with that logo. Let's go into this menu right here. And we've chosen the menu we want to put up there. We've got no logo in there. Like I say, you can do this and the logo at the same by putting a logo in here. Elements down below, you can choose, if you've got WooCommerce installed, you can use a shopping icon or choose to show a shopping icon or a search icon if you want to. I don't want either of those on my menu today. Don't want any link in here because obviously the menus are going to link to themselves. By default, the menu puts a white background in. I'll leave that there for a moment. As this is on a white background, it doesn't make any difference, but if we create a secondary menu in a moment with a different color background, you'll want to take that away. Great, well let's move over to our design now. Layout, you can choose to have it left aligned, centered, or inline centered logo. And what that means, we can't do it because we've not added the logo. It'll pop the logo on the top and the menu underneath. I'm going to leave mine centered just for the moment. menu text down below. Well, I think I want my menu text color to perhaps be the same color as that dark blue of the logo. I've got a little free Chrome color picker here. If we roll over that color, get the hex code. Let's make my menu text that color. Active link is the page that it's on. I'm going to make that color as well. You can use a different color if you want to. And the actual menu text color itself, same thing. I'm going to click on the color. I'm going to pop my cursor into the little field up there, paste that hex code in, and that's turned blue now. And you can decide whether to have it regular, semi-bold, bold, however you wish, italicized, capitals, upper and lower capitals, underline, and strike through. I'm happy with it just to be like that. But it is a little high up there. I want it to be everything to be in a line. So I'm sure you're ahead of me on this. What we can do is just close up that menu text there. Actually, before we push it down, I'll take you through the drop down. We have got a drop down here. If you go down here, you can decide what color background color you want for that. Let's make it that same blue. I've still got that on my clipboard. I'm just going to paste it in there. As you can see, that drop down is now blue, but of course we can't see the writing. That's next down. Menu line color, there's a little line there. It's light blue. That light blue color is actually the accent color you've chosen for your theme, but you can change it to anything you want here. I'm going to make it that same blue, so it's just a block. As you can see, it's just a blue block now. Obviously, make it whatever color works for you. I'm just showing the options here. Drop down menu text color. Well, let's make that white so we can actually see it. Might be a little more useful. There we go. Fantastic. Active link color. Obviously, you can do the same thing for that. You can have a different one for mobile menu background and mobile menu text color. Let's flip it to mobile just to see. And we'll want to style this a little bit more for mobile so it all works. But I'm just going to flip it to mobile. And like I say, we want to style this better. If I click on that, mobile menu background color. Great. Can't see a thing though for the text. Mobile menu text color. Make that white. We can see it now. But of course our little button and social medias are in the way, and I'll show you how to fix that in a little while. No problem at all. What I was saying earlier about using my logo separately from the menu, on mobile it'll stack like this and you can manipulate it easier than using the logo in the actual menu module. But that's entirely up to you. That's just my little tip. Okay, well let's go back. Well, let's not go back. I'm going to style that same blue as we've been using here. If we roll down just a little bit more, icons. Haven't got a shopping cart icon or a search icon, so I'm going to leave those. Hamburger menu. For anybody that doesn't know, that is what they call a hamburger menu. I'm going to make it that same blue. Let's now flip back to the desktop. Okay, just rolling on down. Like I say, we haven't got a logo, but you can manipulate your logo if you use this menu module here. And it's got its own colors, sizing, corners, box shadows and everything like that. And if we look into sizing, you've actually got your logo width here. Of course that won't affect mine because I'm not using one. But like I say, if you're using the menu module with a logo, you can manipulate your logo right there. Fantastic. Well, let's just close that up. Spacing down below. I want to push this menu down a little bit, so we can do that with a bit of padding on top. Let's try giving it a 10. Again, I'm just putting in the 10, it's putting in the pixels. That's actually pretty much there. We can fine tune it a little bit with the little arrows here if you want to take it up or down a little bit more. Great. Well, I think I'm going to leave that there. We can always come back and adjust it in a moment. Well, let's move on to our little button next. So next door we got this little button. I'm going to go into it. First thing I want to do is put this in the middle of the column it's sitting on. It's too close to that right there. So in design, we have alignment. I'm just going to pop it in the middle. To me, that text is way too big. It's kind of shouting at me. How rude. So let's take it down in a bit of color. If you like it like that, that's fine. All these styling things are entirely up to you. So I'm into my button. In the design tab, I've gone to the button tab. I'm going to hit use custom styles for button. You can make it any color combinations you want. This is my default color combination I set up in the customizer in our first video. And you can find a link to the Divi for Beginners playlist down below. You'll find that video. All I'm going to do is take this text size down. Let's take it down to probably 16. Let's try that. Maybe even a little less. Let's try 14. Yeah, I think that's okay. That's kind of less in your face. But of course, it's too high up. If we close that up, you may be ahead of me, but you're wrong. For buttons, we can't use padding to push it down. We have to use margin. If I put 20 pixels or 10 pixels padding on the top of this, watch what happens. It's just going to make that button fatter. You know, if you want a big fat button, great. As with all things Divi, if you don't like it, just delete it. It'll return to how it was. But what we can do is use margin to push it down. So on top, let's try 10 pixels. That's almost there. I think that's close enough. Fantastic. Well, I'm going to add a little bit of box shadow under this just for a bit of interest value. I'm going to use that particular one there. Just lifts it off the page a little bit. Great. Well, we're getting there. Let's move over to our little social media icons here. I'm going to save my button. One thing I ought to mention, let's go back into our logo here. If you have trouble once you take padding away or position things getting to a module, I can't get to the cog there, go down to the bottom, make sure your little button is expanded like this. Little icon left hand side, wireframe view. You can get into everything really easy that way. Here's our logo. It says image because it's an image module. If you want to change the admin link so you can see exactly what it is, just go to the admin label. You'll always find that under content. Change it to whatever you want. As you can see, that's logo now. Okay, we're in there now, so we can flip back to desktop. What I wanted to mention, usually when you click on a logo, it's going to take you to the home page of your site, generally. So I'd go down to link. You'll always find link under content. Every module, row and section has the ability to link, and you'll always find it under content. Put the URL of your site, full URL to the home page there, and that way every time they click on your logo, it'll take them to the home page. And of course, what I didn't mention for the button also is you're going to want to link it to somewhere. Yet again, the link's under content, and you're going to want to either link it to a section on your page or another page that has a contact form on it. I'll just put a hashtag in for a placeholder. Great. Well, let's move on to our little social icons now. Again, I want them to be in the middle of the column that they're sitting on. So I'm going to go alignment. I'm going to put those in the center. Fantastic. Let's go back to our content now. And I want to style my buttons to be all the same. Again, I'm going to use that same blue as my logo. I'm going to make them all round. So I'm going to go into my first one here. I'm going to go down to background. By default, it puts in whatever the Facebook color is, whatever the X color is, whatever the LinkedIn is, and whatever the Instagram is. I want mine to be common. So I'm going to click on the color field. I'm just left clicking. I'm going to paste my little hex code in there again. And that's made it a darker blue, same blue as my logo there. But I also want it to be round. So let's go over to our design. You can do that with borders, and this will only work if something's square. Thankfully, those are all square. Let's go down to our border. I'm going to put 50 in there. Make sure the chain is checked so it'll do all four sides at once. If I put a high pixel value like 50 in there, you can see that's turned that round, which is just what I wanted. And just to finish off, I think I'll add a little bit of box shadow for that. So let's close up the border. Here's the box shadow. Pop that on the bottom. Fantastic. Well, that's looking just how I want it. Size wise, it's fine. I'm not going to change that at all. That seems to work for me. But of course, I don't want to have to go through and do all the others. Same thing. Easy option. Go back to the main social media follow under the content where you see all of them. Right click on the one that you've just done. Say extend item styles. We only want to extend it to everything else in this column, which is these other three icons there. So I'm going to say this column. I'm going to hit extend. Boom. They're all the same. Fantastic. Just what I wanted. Okay, well, we just need to scoot them down a little bit, and then we'll check this on tablet and mobile. So back to design. You know how to scoot things down already. And you're right, this time we're going to use padding again. Let's try 10. Pretty close. I think that looks okay to me. Great. Well, I'm fairly happy with that on desktop. I'm not sure I'd keep that line in there. That's just a reference to see how deep that is. Let's take a look on tablet. And again, make sure your little purple button's expanded down here. Let's have a look on tablet. Yeah, it's not too bad. I wouldn't mind scooting those left, perhaps on tablet, and right for this one. So let's do that. I'm going to go into the little button. Go to my design and my alignment. Now here's the important thing. This is common to all Divi modules. If you go into a module, hover over the dark writing, you'll see some little icons appear. If there's a little mobile phone type icon, click on it. And you can have completely different values on desktop, tablet and mobile. So for tablet, I want that perhaps to be over on the left. Great. Let's flip to mobile quickly while we're here. And on mobile, I want it to be back in the middle. Great. And you can do this with any setting, padding, margin, colors, whatever you want. Really useful thing to have. Okay, that's great. Let's flip it back to tablet. And it's not too bad. I wouldn't mind these logos over here a little bit more. It'll actually end where the row ends. So we can do the same thing with that if we want to. Save my button settings. Going to go into the social medias there, design, alignment. Remember to roll over the dark writing. Make sure we're on tablet mode. On tablet, if you want to, scoot it to the right. That works. Let's have a look on the phone. And again, on the phone, I want to put it back in the middle right there. Now for the phone, those may be a little bit close together. If you want to add a bit more padding to the bottom of that button just on phone to push these down, or actually margin it's going to be with that button, or padding on the top of this, social media. We're already in the social media, so let's do it with the padding there. So we'll close up alignment, go down to spacing, where you always find padding. Again, make sure you roll up over, get your devices up. I'm happy with it on tablet. On mobile, I want to give it a little bit more space, so let's maybe up that to 20, might be too much. No, I think that's all right. Remember, we only want that on mobile. And I might want to just remove a little bit of space. Not quite sure about that with the logo. I think it's okay. But if you do, you can go into the menu or the logo and do a similar thing that we've done here. Great. So that's working. That's fine. And that works too. Good. And if you wanted to add a secondary menu, I'll do this very quickly. Just add a new row. Put in whatever you want to put in yours. I'm going to keep this very simple because this video is rolling on a bit now. I'm just going to use a blurb module with a telephone icon. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to put my number in here. Image and icon. I want to use a little telephone icon, so I'm going to hit the user icon link. I'm going to search for a phone. I want to use that little icon there. Fantastic. For the link, if you want to turn that into a live telephone link, in the module link, so anywhere they click, whether it's on the icon or the number, do this. We'll say tel, T-E-L, colon, country code, USA, number, or area code next, then number. That's all there is to it. And when they click on that now, if it's on a cell phone, it'll call it. If it's on a desktop, it'll prompt you to make a live call with Skype or something. Not going to change anything else design wise. Image and icon. I'm going to turn that white in a second. I want it to be on the left hand side. I want it to be about 20 pixels, so I'm going to put the image icon width to 20. Fantastic. Don't want any rounded corners or anything on this. So let's just save this. I'm going to go into the row and I'm going to do exactly the same as I did with the row on top. I'm going to make it full width. Design, sizing, width 100%, copy it, max width 100%. Let's give it that same blue background. If we go to background, paste in my hex code. That row is way too wide for me for a secondary menu. So in design, spacing, we know how to fix that. Let's take away some of that padding. Let's perhaps try 3 pixels. Maybe a little short. No, I think that's going to work actually okay. I just need to pop that down slightly, that logo. Easily done. We're almost there. So let's go back into our little blurb module here. Obviously you can add menus and anything you want. I'm keeping this very simple for expediency. There's our little blurb module. Okay, I want to make that icon white in color. Don't want any background. It's fine where it is and the size is great. Let's make our text that same color. In any of these modules, once you're in a module, you can roll over, hit a little paintbrush. It'll take you to the thing that's connected to that paintbrush. In this case, the text. I want to make that white. It's not quite in line with our logo there. I can scoot that up with using line height here. If I take that down to the left, there we go. You can see it's scooting up more to the middle there. And let's perhaps just pop this right in the middle. To do that, I'm actually going to close that body. I'm going to go down to sizing. I'm going to take the width down. Once we take the width down, make sure you don't cut off any of those letters. You can scoot it in the middle just so you can see what's going on. Let's put a background in here. Let's put a bright background that you can see. At the moment we've got that much width. I'm going to take it down so it's no bigger really than the content there. To design, sizing. Let's put a percentage in there. I'm going to guess at that. Let's say 250 pixels. That's a guess. 250 px. Still way too wide. We can take 100 off that. Now if we start sliding down, let's get it right about to the size. There we go. Now that's going to be pretty much in the middle. We can take that background away. I just wanted to show you so you could see how wide that was. We'll save that. And of course we want this on the top. If we flip to wireframe mode again, grab the little handle, pull it up there, flip back to desktop. We've now got it on top. Fantastic. Well, let's just double check this on tablet. It's fine. Mobile, that's working. What about our little menu here? See these icons and button rolling down over the top of it? We can fix that by changing the Z index. We're in the menu at the moment, and this is common to all modules. If we go over to advanced, down to position, you'll find Z index. And Z index dictates how things stack on top of each other. So let's perhaps give our menu a Z index of 100. And if we give these items a Z index anything lower than 100, this menu will always appear on top. So let's do that. We'll save that. Let's go into the little button. And again, if you have trouble getting to it, flip to wireframe. There's the button. Advanced position. There's the Z index. Say give it 20. And we'll do a similar thing with our social medias. Advanced position. And we'll give that one 20 also. And we should be good to go. Let's just save our changes here. We'll X out. Make sure everything's saved on this page. Let's go back to our site. Refresh. We should have our new global menu on there. There we are with that tail number in there. As you can see, it's got a link. We've got our logo here. Our little menu with a drop down. Call to action button. Take them wherever you want. I'd probably take them to the contact form or something. And our little social media icons there. So there we go, guys. If I go back to our original and refresh this now, we've gone from that to this. Now one other thing, at the moment this is not sticky. It's rolling up the page, which is fine. If you want it to stick to the top at all times, very easy to do. If we go back to our theme builder, back into our global header, roll up into the section, the blue tab, which contains everything we've got there, over to advanced. and scroll effects, you'll find sticky position there. I'm going to flip it from do not stick to top. And it'll stay there at all times. We'll save that. Make sure we save everything here. X out. Make sure all changes are saved on this page. Now if we refresh this and I roll down, you can see that header stays there. So there you go guys, there's how to create your own custom primary and secondary menu bars with the Divi theme. I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and WebDesignAndTechTips.com. Don't forget, if you have any questions, pop them below the video. I'll do my best to answer them for you or make a little demo video like this one. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.